Okay, so let's take a moment to ground together. So some of you have started foot rolling, but let's just take a moment to anchor your feet on your mat. Some of you that are joining online, Nikki, you might even stand on the earth if you want. And take a few breaths as we are already in the nose and out the mouth. Allow the knees to soften as you continue to receive the breath through the nose and exhale out the mouth. Feel the reaffirming, as we've been talking about, this downward flow of energy, this apana energy that helps us ground through the body. It helps settle us, helps to find a regulation to our nervous system when the nervous system is feeling heightened. You might even feel a few pursed breaths coming in, pursing the lips, blowing the breath out, allowing that elongation of the exhale. And checking in with how the feet are connecting. Can you feel all the toes rooting, the heels? You might feel the arms feel comfortable by your side. Maybe the palms choose to turn forward. Some of you might find just taking a moment to place the hands on the belly, which brings a little interoceptive awareness. When we place hands on the body, we go from feeling our body in space to noticing the felt sense inside the body. Sometimes one hand on the belly and one hand on the heart is another place. You might have a sway through the body. My body is kind of swaying today. You might have the sway from left to right, front to back in the feet. You might have stillness. Just let your breath flow in and out of your nose. Feel how your body receives the inhalation. There's an expansion. The energy lifts up. A little energizing quality that comes in. And each time you exhale, the body gathers through the belly, through the ribs. There's a settling through heart. And you're dropping down through the body into the earth. So just feel this quality of prana on the inhale, this energizing expansion. And this balancing quality of apana, the downward flow, the gathering in, reconnecting to your body and self. So can you find a balance between these two flows? Seeing if we can even out the inhale and the exhale. It's called resonant breathing when we find a balance between the inhale and the exhale. And sometimes in this balance of the breath, we can balance the nervous system, the body. Just going to take a few more rounds here. Notice what's appearing in your practice with you today. Maybe your body's expressing you to take a little bit more care in some areas. Maybe releasing. Maybe holding a compassionate container for yourself. Notice if there's any thoughts or emotions that are accompanying you today. Just meeting and allowing whatever's present just to be here. And as the hands release, my eyes have been just slowly lowered. If yours has too, just lifting up. Taking awareness of one foot to root. So we've been doing balancing first. So just taking the one foot that wants to be the rooting, find all the toes, the inside of the heel, the outside of the heel. Exhale, feel the lower belly draw back. Some of you know that S breath in there, and the ribs gathering is the SH, and then feel that inner core come up and see if you can pull the energy up out the crown of the head as the foot roots down. See if that leg can lift and come up. You might even have the arms coming out. There might be a little bounce here. So we've been playing. Does it feel like to feel a little bit more grounded? Some of us have played with a little bit of keeping the leg forward. My balance not so good today. And the leg coming out to the side too. So we'll play. And then at any time you can drop it down. We're rolling either on the dowel or the ball. Just noticing here how the foot rolling is giving us a sense of dropping into the earth. And just checking in where you notice that the rolling needs to come in your foot. Maybe the front, maybe the outer side of the foot, maybe the inner heel, inner side of the arch. You might even pause in an area and just allow a little bit of leaning. You might accompany that with the pin and the twist. So we're always approaching the fascia with a little bit more softness. So I've been talking about in the nervous system, the receptors. So we have receptors closer to the surface of the skin, and 40% of those receptors and nerve endings at the close to the surface of the skin are connected to our sympathetic nervous system. Right? So our sympathetic nervous system allows us to get up, to move. It's what got us here today. Right? But sometimes it gets overdrive. Right? We feel kind of like a rush of anxiety or stress or something. And it's like, for me, I always feel it. It's a wave. It starts from my feet and it goes, and it just kind of takes me away, and it's like almost like a gasping quality. And so when you feel that rush up, that's that upward flow, and the nervous system, the sympathetic, is feeling a little bit too over, accentuated. So we can be in awareness like, oh, I feel, right, anxiety is present, or I feel like I'm a little bit stressed, right? And so when we identify that, instead of saying I am, right? Because when we say I am, it means that we're starting to think this is who I am, right? But if you can separate yourself a little bit and take out the I, right? The personality, the ego, the identification, thinking that's what you are, but just noticing, hey, this is present, just like if happiness is present or sadness is present, right? We can notice the emotion or the thought without getting attached to it. So it creates a tinge of separation. Then you can do something about it, right? But if you start identifying, I am that, then you grab and you hold onto it, and you pull it in, and then you wrap around it and you start building cities around it, right? Yeah, right? But if you can just kind of go, oh, okay, anxiety is present, or happiness is present, or sadness is present, then you can be with it. And then you can go, what do I need? Exactly. That's a really good way. So I'll just share that with you online. There was a comment of ownership versus acknowledgement. Yeah. So you don't have to own it, but you can acknowledge it. And when we acknowledge it, then we can actually ask ourselves, is there something I need? Right? Do I need to exhale? Right? Do I need to let that go? Do I need to shake my body? Switch your feet at any time. Okay. So sometimes, for me, I'll be like, oh, I need to shake that out. Or I'll need to, do a little shaking. I also like to stand on the earth bare feet. For me, that's really grounding. And I'll intentionally release what's no longer needed away from me. So just taking in that awareness. And then with that asking of what do I need, sometimes there's a way of like, how can I release this? Right? And you can release it sometimes through the breath. The exhalation is the way. Tools of sweeping, touching, shaking. Being out in nature is really helpful. And then you can ask yourself, what is it that I'd like to bring in? Right? So after you release it, you can go, oh, I feel like I need some grounding. Or sometimes I'll even say like a little phrase to myself, like, okay, I feel really anxious right now. I'm going to release that. And then what I'm going to say to myself, for me, I'll say, okay, you're safe. It's okay. Right? Come back to the moment. And then I start to look around. Well, what's around me? Oh, look at the beautiful trees. Listen to the birds, right? And so instead of when you get in your mind, you're either usually feeling something about the future or the past, right? And you're not here. So when you come back into your senses, you realize, I'm in the moment, okay? So you can hear, listen, feel, touch, taste, right? Any of those senses will bring you back into the present moment. So we've been just talking about tools, right? On ways over the last few classes that we can help to bring in a little bit more regulation into the nervous system. So some of you, if you have the dowel, you might stand on the dowel with the toes hanging off. Some of you, if you have a ball, you might be wrapping the toes around if you haven't already. Okay, we're going to allow the pelvis to come forward as a whole if you're standing. And I always find putting my hands in the creases of the hips. And then as you fold and you feel the pelvis shift back and the sit bones start to rise up. And then you can let the hands go. You can bend the knees. Remember, your hands can go on your thighs. You can swing one arm in the air. You can do both. And Chris, on your back here, you can be lying on your side. So I'm just talking to someone who's online. You can lie on your side and reach the arm up in the air. So this is the version of it in side lying. Yeah, and just let the arm reach up. Yeah, good. And just let it hang there for a moment and just let the ball of the shoulder relax in the socket. And then you can start to circle in one direction and then the other. Good. Those of you that are circling in standing, you can let that go when you're ready. Let the spine, if you choose, dangle forward. Let the head hang. We've been playing a little bit with doing a little lateral stretch here of lengthening through one arm. So we've been taking our right arm and crossing it across the body and reaching our sit bones back. So we're feeling a little tug. And then you might go across to the other side and feeling how that can go right down into the pelvis. So the lat muscle that attaches onto the arm bone, it actually folds all the way down through the torso and folds into your pelvis, down to your sit bones and your tailbone. God. When you're ready, make sure you find that rooting to rise. Take your time. Some of you might even find the arms want to come up. God. Some time to come off. Do a little bit of shaking, a little bit of exhale out the mouth. So this is a really good way to get the lymphatic system going and also to release. You can be like, I need to shake and flick that away. And you let the body kind of have a little sense of play. So we've been talking about, how we can have a sense of play, and fascia loves movement. So whenever we stop moving, that's when the fascia starts to kind of hold and dehydrate. And because the nervous system runs through the fascia, right, then it starts to clamp around the nervous system. So it might heighten the sense of pain or discomfort that we have. We might feel a little bit more heightened in our nervous system. So I always kind of think to myself, can I feel integrity, but can I also feel fluid? And what does that look like to have the balance of the two? Because I don't know about you, but sometimes when I get stressed, I start to the body starts to clench, or if I'm in protection mode, I start to and then I'm like, oh no, this is not good, not good. Right? Where's fluid body? Right? I see if you want, a lot of you are already doing some swinging twists. Okay, and when it feels right, you are moving the ball, the dowel out of the way. And then we're checking in to see if we want to go into the top of the foot release. So you can have the block if you want, and you can be standing on the block. And I've got a wall, and I'll do it with my outer leg. It doesn't matter which leg you start on. I'm standing on the chip bone block, but you can also use the 4-inch. And you're just going to start to swing the leg. And so on the floor, Chris, you can also do a psoas release in this one, extending one leg along the floor, and then the opposite arm can come up. So we're just releasing hip flexor right now. Good. And then the leg that's swinging, you can step forward about a foot to a foot and a half, And then the foot that was standing on the block then comes to turn. So the top of the foot is on the block, bending both knees, feeling the sit bones reaching down, lifting up through the pubic bone, gathering through the belly, drawing in and up the ribs, using sounds if you want. If the arms come up, let the elbows bend and be heavy. And you can bring the elbows together towards the front body. So you feel your back body widen. Good. And when you're ready, you're going to come out, you're going to shake it out. Okay, and then you're going to grab hold of one foot if you want. So you can use your hand, your ankle, holding the top of the foot or the ankle, or you can use a strap. You can do this side lying as well, Chris, rolling on one side to grab the foot, so the top leg. So I'm just giving variations online to someone so you just hear me speaking a little bit more. Yeah, so there you go, whatever foot. So for me, I'm holding my right foot, gather the inner thighs. Okay, now you really got to let your sit bones draw down. Lift up through the lower belly and the pubic bone. Keep the standing leg a little bit bent. Good. Really nice balance, Teresa, there. That feels super steady for you today. Yeah, coming out, shaking it out. And then we're going to switch sides. I had to figure out what I did on the other side. You could just see me like calculating. I was like, okay, what did I do? I right. Okay, so right. You could see me kind of finding my train of thought as I wasn't speaking right or left today in this one. Good, yeah. And the leg that is swinging, making sure that you're pulling out the top of the head. You're going to step the leg that is swinging forward about a foot to a foot and a half. And then the foot that's standing on the block, that top of the foot comes down to the block. Okay, and then this time I want you to just see the top of the foot that's on the block. If you don't need it, remember, you can always remove it. You want to reach the heel back of that foot. See if you can allow the heel to reach back. So you open the ankle. Yeah, good, Donna. Yeah. Because sometimes we roll the ankle out. Yeah, there we go. Good. Uh-huh. Arms can come up. Mm-hmm. When you're ready, you come out. You can do a little shaking. You can do a few ankle circles. And then if you choose, grabbing hold of that foot, top of the foot, ankle, bending the standing leg, feeling that energy, that breath, that exhalation. Remember, that's your grounding breath. Feeling the sit bones reaching down the front of the pelvis, the pubic bone, lifting up the lower belly, drawing back. Good. When you're ready, you're going to come out. Nice. And we've been noticing, right, that one side is always a little bit more balanced than the other. So it's kind of interesting how one side you're like, yeah, I got this. And then the other side, you're like feeling a little tipsy. So just how it is. So we're just going to do a few shoulder rolls. We're going to inhale, draw the shoulders up, roll them back, exhale, let the knees back. Beautiful. A couple more times. Inhale and exhale. And Chris, if you want to do some eagle arms on the floor, bringing one arm over the other. Just flowing one direction. And then when you're ready, switching directions, going the other way. Good. Once you've evened it out on both sides, you can feel the shoulders draw up to the ears, a little squeeze as you inhale. And then when you exhale, just let them go. Do that a couple more times. Inhale. And you just flow through one or two more times, stopping when you need to. Just Taking a moment as we pause and check in with self. We do that multiple times throughout the class. Seeing how you feel. And you're going to ask yourself, do I want to flow down to the floor, or do I just want to sit down and then lie down onto my back, which is where we're transitioning. Those of you that just want to sit down, feel free. If you do want to flow down, you're going to come up towards the top of your mat. Feel your feet. Bring your hands to heart center. Let your knees bend a little bit with the breath. When you're ready on the inhale, feel the body lengthen up. As you exhale, release your arms down, let your knees bend. Press your feet into the floor as the arms float up. Maybe the gaze follows the hands. Exhale, fold at the hip crease. There you go. Come down, even your weight out, so shift a little bit more forward so you feel your whole foot. Let the head go. Okay, feel the hands wide, the width of your mat. You can have them a little bit tented if you want. You can step back with one foot nice and big step. Flatten the hands if you want to come into downward dog. Now you can choose here to just come down into a little bend and go onto your hands and knees and walk it out through downward dog. Good. I remember, Donna, when I grabbed hold of your hips on Thursday, remember that? And you bent your knees a little bit more and you flattened your hands. Yeah, I'm just going to be off camera for a moment. So we're going to drop this wrist, if you can, all the way down. Yeah, can I touch your hips again? Is that okay? Okay. And we're going to bend the knees. Yeah, and then yes, let your head go. Yeah, there you are, nice and long. I give you the same adjustment. Okay, so I'm just going to touch your hips if that's okay. Yeah, walk your feet back a tiny bit more. When you're ready, you're going to come down onto your hands and knees. Good. Feel how that's lengthening. So there's like reaching back. So you've got to press through your hands. Yeah, there it is. Feel the difference of that? Yeah. What was that, Donna? Did you say something? No, I said that's fine. Okay, great. Mm-hmm. Does that feel okay for you too? Yeah. Okay, when you're ready, just pause and child's pose for those of you that want to pause there. If the arms want to go forward and off to one side, the other, feel free. A nice release of the armpit area here, which is a variation that is quite nice, is bringing the palms of the hands together. So your hips can be high, they can sink back, but then lifting the forearms and the hands off the floor and bringing the back of the hands towards the back of the neck and the upper back. And this releases all under the armpits. Take a few more breaths. And when you're ready, you're going to sit up, roll to one side, and we're going to all come down together on our back. So I'm just grabbing my slow-mo ball here. And keeping awareness of your core, you might take your slow-mo ball or that 4-inch block, pop it between the thighs, arms by your side, palms up, chin coming towards your chest. Press your feet into the floor as you exhale, squeeze the ball, and then slowly feel your sit bones reach towards your heels as you roll down. Try to use your core. Once you come down to the floor, take a moment to see if the legs want to wiper a little bit from left to right, or if you want to draw the legs up towards the chest, give them a hug, circle a tiny bit, one direction or the other. Take a few breaths out the mouth to land here. Ask the body if it needs a little support behind the head. So I've got my chip foam block. It's got a little black cover on it. So I am going to pop that behind my head because my body is asking me for a little bit of support. I'm just going to bring the camera a tiny bit closer here. We're going to land in the body. Allow that exhalation out the mouth to be there for as long as you want. Maybe a pursed lip breath. Now we're orientating ourselves to the ground. Let your feet be hip width apart or even wider, maybe the width of your mat if you choose. I've got my inflated slow-mo ball in between my thighs, but you can also have a block, the 4-inch block if you want. Checking in with your nervous systems to see if your eyes want to close. Just reminding us in the studio that I have locked the door. And so it's really important for our nervous system to know, do I feel safe? And I always like to give that awareness of the container that we create here in the studio. And those of you that are online, noticing the container that you've created for yourself so that the nervous system can find a sense of ease for a moment. Maybe the eyes stay open and soften or close. Arms can be out to the side. So if their arms are really close to the body, let them slide away from you a little bit, at least a foot or two, and just notice, oh, I've got some props there. So move them out of the way so you can take up as much space as you need to. Sometimes the hands want to come back on the belly, elbows heavy. And so the first part of the class, we've been doing a lot of proprioception, so feeling and orientating ourself in our body and also in our space where we are practicing. And now we're going to climb a little bit deeper inside of our body and feeling the felt sense inside. So our inner awareness, our interoception. Feel that inner space of the abdomen as the belly gently expands and the diaphragm lowers down and contracts and pushes on all the abdominal organs to allow the belly to expand. Inhalation. And as we exhale, belly deflates and the body becomes heavy into the mat. So there's a releasing back through feet, through pelvis, through rib cage, shoulder blade, shoulders, arms, and your skull. Relax the jaw. If the eyes are closed, and you allow the eyes so that we can relax the muscles of the eyes just to soften a little bit. You might even feel the eyes just gently soften away from the back of the eyelids. And there's a little fascial hammock in the back of your eye socket that your eyes can rest back in. So you can even think of it as a hammock. You might notice the mind softening the thoughts. If the eyes are staying open, just relax the eyes, allowing whatever you see to receive towards the eyes, and then the eyes will just become a little bit more inner drawn. You've got a block or a ball in between the legs. On your next exhale, you might even feel the feet gently root into your mat. And as you exhale, squeeze the ball. Feel the lower belly draw in and feel that little up. And as you inhale, relax the feet, relax the inner thighs. And you can bring that S sound in if you choose. As you exhale, root the feet, squeeze the ball, that S sound. You can feel the pelvic floor gathering and the lower transverse abdominis gathering in towards that center line, that linea alba. It's a ligament that connects to your pubic bone and the bottom of your upper rib cage, your xiphoid process. And the transverse abdominis comes from the back body and wraps around to feed into this inner fascial connection of the aponeurosis in the front and this ligament. There's a wrapping around. We've talked about almost feeling like, it's like a jacket quality. And as the lower transverse comes together with that S sound, you can feel almost like it's a little pulling up or zippering together of the right and left sides of the body. And you can do that 1 or 2 more rounds. And then when you feel ready, just let that soften for a moment. We're going to shift our awareness now above the belly button into the rib cage. And so some of us might use the hands on the sides of the ribs just to feel this part of the body a little bit better. So you might separate your thumb from your fingers and wrap it around the side of your rib cage. You might use the back of the fingers, or just allow your inner awareness to drift there. And let the shoulders relax if you've used your hands, because they do tighten a little bit in this position. So now we're just going to connect to the breath. So as you inhale, just allow the sides of the ribs more so to widen, expand outward to the sides of the room very gently. And as you exhale, you can feel the ribs gathering back, and there's a lowering down. And so this is the upper transverse abdominis above the belly button, around the belly button. And you can feel the rib cage coming in towards that center line. And so a lot of us might even notice that sound, the SH sound, that sometimes I like to place my hands on the front of the ribs and just feel that encouragement of the ribs gathering together, but also lowering down towards the navel. And if you want, you can bring the lower body connection in by each time you exhale, root the feet, squeeze the ball, and allow the lower belly to connect and the upper belly. So we start to feel this chain of our deep core line of the muscles and the fascia working together, starting at feet, working up these little tracks and stops in the body that allow us to feel our wholeness. Some of you can even breathe into the back of the ribs. Feel not only the side of the ribs, but the back of the ribs widen. And then as you exhale and the sides of the ribs gather and the front of the ribs lower down, you can feel the back of the rib cage. Maybe find a little bit more of a quality of releasing into the earth or leaning back into your mat. You can reach a tiny bit of energy out the very top of your head. This will lengthen your neck. Feeling space always through this practice, through the throat and the back of the neck. You might even notice a widening in the throat, the neck. Good. And then let the hands release if they've been there, and just start to feel the expansion of the full rib cage, the belly. And as you exhale, that gathering in, and maybe it's the S sound, maybe it's the SH sound that's needing to come in. So think, is there a quality that helps me stay a little bit more connected in gathering a certain area of the body, certain sound? Notice if there's maybe a pause before you receive the inhale and open and expand. And maybe at the bottom of the exhale, there might even be a beat or a moment where you just feel that integrity. So you're going to keep this quality of gathering in on the exhalation, using your feet, your inner thighs, the reaching of the very bottom of your sit bones, at the bottom of the pelvis. Okay, leaning into the floor as we move into the series. So keep this radiant breath with you as you start to move slowly. The knees are bent. You might even just let them wiper very gently from left to right. Some of you might want to extend the legs and reach the arms overhead, do a lengthening stretch. You might draw the legs back into the body. Okay, so we're going to check in with self as we go into tapping. Do we need to put a little bit of height under the pelvis? So some of you might put your inflated slow-mo ball. Some of you might put a blanket that's folded or your chip foam block. And then taking note, if you want to use whichever dowel, or some of you have a wooden device that you've grabbed from your kitchen, And as the legs come up, just going to allow the body to just gently shake. And then you can start by tapping. Now remember, start soft. Starting at the lower ankle, we're going to work with the lymphatic system up towards below the knee. And so you can be very gentle. So remember, we were talking about that the sympathetic nerves, 40% of them are closer to the surface of the skin. And so if you find an area and your body says, whoa, that's really sensitive, or it's giving me a lot of feedback, maybe you skip over and you just tap around the area. Okay, we also have been taking the dowel or the hands, you can massage any area, noticing that the pressure or the effort is going up towards the heart. So some of you might take your dowel or your spoon or your wooden device and just put a little bit of pressure as you comb through the fascia. And this is a hydrating technique which unbinds the fascia and allows you to release the moisture out of the fascia. And then as you move over and past that area, it rehydrates 2 to 3 times as much. So I've done a lot of research on this technique. It's very similar to a Ralphing technique, if you've ever worked with a Ralpher. Okay, so you can tap, you can comb, you can shake, flick, whatever is no longer needed. So that's always sweeping out the limbs, out the feet. You can go on to the other side. Okay, so remember, just be soft. We're awakening not only the fascia and rehydrating it, but also all of these mechanoreceptors. So these are receptors in the fascia that sense movement and vibration and jostling. Okay, and they help to balance our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system. So finding a better regulation. Okay, you can have your feet on the floor when you tap top of the thighs. Some of you might even find, oh, I want to draw one leg up and externally rotate that, bring that ankle on the opposite thigh and go into a figure 4 and tap inner thigh, back of the thigh. When we also do this tapping technique, the jostling is when you kind of jostle or shake the leg. It also helps us orientate in space, so bring in proprioception. You can once again comb from the back of the knee up towards the hip. You can roll on your side and tap the iliotibial band and do a little combing here. So just checking in what you need. Remember, pausing at any time. Sometimes just even using the hand very softly in a cup or a soft fist is what the body needs. Maybe a little stroking. Once you're done the legs, stay there for as long as you want, no rush. You can just place the hands on the abdomen and just feel your belly. Or just let yourself float there at any time. You might want to just place the hands on the abdomen. You might want to go in a clockwise circle motion. You might want to jostle or gently tap the abdomen whenever you arrive there. This is the time in the morning when the nervous system is helping to cleanse the digestive system. So the very lowest part of the vagus nerve, nourishing the digestive organs. So we're just tapping into them right now. Move up through the rib cage. You can tap on the side ribs, left side with your right hand, right side with your left. And come up through the sternum. If you want to pause and tap at your sternum and do any B breath or Bhramari breath, that humming on the exhalation, allowing your lips to touch. So we always explore the B breath in a lying down position, which is the first stage of Bhramari breath. It does increase the energy through the body. So if you find the energy is rising too much, just let it go. Take a few more, focusing on pursing the lips. Whenever we sit up, the energy increases more and travels up the body. So we, in this class, just try to stay close to the earth, just to balance out that upward flow. If you want to just stay with that breath for as long as you want, you can tap as you reach one arm up in the air, tap down through the forearm and the bicep and the tricep. Remembering that Brahmari breath increases oxygen, it regulates the vagus nerve, the vasodilator, widening the arteries, distributes oxygen. And for your tapping of your back body, you might just want to stay close to the floor and just roll over onto the side. And you can use a hand or a dowel or a stick to tap the back. If you want to sit up, which I'm going to, you can sit up. So you can start by tapping across the shoulder blade. We don't want to tap right on the vertebra. So either to the left or the right, top of the shoulder as well. So you can do all of this lying on your side. The lower back into the thoracolumbar fascia. Tends to be a little bit more fibrous in this fascia. A few more free nerve endings. So sometimes the free nerve endings, we can feel like a spreading of sensation in the nerves rather than more of a localized awareness. Tap through the sacrum. This is when you can tap on this fused bone at the bottom. The other one that I've been bringing in is very gently tapping on the front of the chest. So you just want to avoid the collarbone, but you can tap just below the collarbone all the way over to the little triangle of the shoulder and into the pec, major and minor. Tap through the sternum. Sometimes I'll even go through the arm a little bit. And do a little combing of the fascia if you choose. I know I've been finding a little bit of binding in my upper arm. You might be in your lower arm. Take a moment whenever that's done. You stay for as long as you want. Once you're done, just lie back down if you've come up. If you want to do any palming and you have glasses, you might even remove them, or you can do the palming and offer it to any other part of the body, but you can reach your arms up, rub your hands together, either with your fingers together or slightly parted so that you get a little bit more into the sides of the knuckles. Create some heat, energy. You might even create an intention. In Sanskrit, we call this a sankalpa. Might be a word or a short phrase, something that you would like to cultivate within self. And you can put the hands on the body or the heel of the hand on your cheekbone, palm of the hands gently cup over the eyes. The pressure is all around the eye sockets, not directly on the eyes. Allow yourself, if you can, to be open to receive. You can even say that to yourself internally, I am open to receive. Maybe you say your word or your intention. And allow you to notice the inner sensations, heat, cold, vibration, tingling. Another interoceptive sense is feeling little sensations of itch through the body. Feel your proprioception, your body in space, your breath. Might feel the outline of your body a little bit clearer. Just allowing a little space here. Whenever your hands want to slowly release the eyes, you might just keep your eyes closed and release the hands and then slowly let the light in. Okay, we're going to go into canoe pose, which is our grounding pose of the series. You might have a folded blanket. You might put your chip foam block underneath. Some of you might even challenge yourself, which is the most challenging, of having that slow-mo ball underneath the pelvis. I'm going to use my chip foam block today, which does have a black cover on it. So I'm going to pop it underneath the back of the pelvis. The lower back is floating. Okay, so you can have your 4-inch block or your slow-mo ball close by. I'm going to have both kind of close by me. Some of you might even want to use your dowels today if you have them, long dowel, short dowel. So you can have them just so you don't have to look for them. So just have the equipment off to the right or the left. I've kind of sectioned some off to the right side of me and some off to the left, just so I know I don't have to look around for it. I can just reach and find it. Okay, so finding heaviness, dropping your pelvis into the block, your blanket, rooting back. So if you press the back of the hips gently into your block, the pelvis, and you exhale, you can allow your knees to bend, bringing your thighs up towards the torso. You can put a ball or a slow-mo ball or a block in between the legs, and then allow the shins and the feet to unfurl. Okay, so remember, we want knees bent as the arms come up, elbows bend. So we want to soften the skin because we want to get into the subcutaneous fascia, also called the superficial fascia. And that's where we get the slide and glide happening. That's where all of that nice, it's called hyaluronic acid, is underneath the fascia, and it allows us to feel more fluid. Okay, so the arms and the legs are going to come towards one another, then very gently away. So remember, using your sounds, okay, connecting, feeling fluid. Check that your arms are flowing at the same time. Check your feet are feeling connected. Maybe reaching a little bit of energy up your toes and out your heels, but also bending the knees and feeling that release of the ball of the hip into the glove of the socket, and then also bending heavy elbows and feeling the release of the shoulders into the very shallow ball of the shoulder socket, more towards the bottom. But always there's a little reaching up through the fingers and the toes. So we just use this first one just to ground. And the movement can be as small as you want. We're just connecting to our deep front line, noticing a soft throat, a widening, little reaching out the crown of the head, down at the sit bones. Good. 1 or 2 more movements. Remember, you can pause at any time. And when you're ready, you're just going to release the feet down. And remove the ball or the block in between the thighs. Lift your pelvis up by rooting your feet down and just bring that off to the side. Remember, you can always support your head at any time. We're going to go into smiley face. So you might once again reaffirm a block or a ball in between the thighs. And as you feel an exhale, you squeeze the ball or the block. You allow the hip creases to fold to bring the thighs up towards the body. Now, if this is a little bit challenging, you can always put a little folded blanket or a block underneath the hips. Some of you, I know, like to put a block in between the feet. I also want to suggest, for those of you in the studio, if you want, I've asked you to grab a small dowel and you can take this and pop it as you extend the legs behind the knees and then grab hold of the dowel. And one of the things I want you to notice is when you're in the center here today, I want you to see how the knees are in alignment. And I'm just going to take my hands out of the equation for this one. As you exhale and you come over to the side, one thing that happens when we go over to the side, I haven't talked about this in a little bit, is I'm on my left side. So my left knee and my right knee should be at the same height. And sometimes the top leg, which for me is my right, drops down. Does that make sense? Okay. And so sometimes when you're here, you might go, oh, I need to lift up through my hip to find level. So I just want you to go from side to side and see if you can find that. If you have a chip foam block, you can also put that behind the legs and squeeze. Okay? And go from side to side if you don't have a dowel. Or just be mindful of it. Yeah. Good. So just kind of watching you. Mm-hmm. Feet are parallel, knees are parallel. And when you come to each side, flex the feet, push out through the heels. And then when you come into center, inhale, point the toes. And then exhale, flex the feet. Yeah, inhale, point the toes. You got it. Exhale, flex the feet. Good. And now if you want, just pause in center, bring your arms up. Some of you might even put the long dowel in between the palm of the hands, or if you don't have one, imagine you're holding a ball. So you don't have to use the arms, elbows bent, and your arms are going to move the opposite direction of the legs. If you choose, just going a little bit more into axle rotation. Keep flexing the heels as you exhale, pointing the toes into center. Exhale, flexing. Yeah, good. How's the dowel working for some of you? Do you like it? Yeah? Okay. Nice. Okay. If you want to stay in this one, you can just pause. If you want to go into the intermediate version, you do have to take out the dowel because you are going to be kicking a ball in space, that awareness. And sometimes I like to pop the slow-mo ball back in or the block. But when you kick a ball into space, you extend the shins and the feet. I want you to look at your feet. What are they doing? Are they lining up? Is one farther forward? Hey, do you still have a slight internal rotation? Bend the knees, point the toes into center. Exhale. Relax, reaching. Good. Keep squeezing that ball. Pause when you need to. Beautiful. Nice. Yes, there it is. Good. I'm just taking my arms out of the equation today. For me, you can have your arms down, palms down. You can be still pulling the arms from side to side. And then we just pause when we're ready. Good. Yes. Okay. So we're going to pause now. Now that we've gotten our core, we're going to play with two of the ones in the series. For some of you, these two are going to be quite new. Okay. And we're going to use our bolster, and some of you might just use your forearm. If when you roll over onto one side, so I'm going to roll towards camera, which is going to be on my left hip. So if we can all stay roughly the same way, it helps because there's a lot of right and left in this one. So if rolling to the left side does not allow you to face me, then just kind of switch around a little bit because we do have space in the studio. If your left hip is bugging you, you can take, mine's an inflated slow-mo ball, but you can take your semi-inflated so that it just supports your hip a little bit. Okay, so you're going to be coming over to the side. I'm going to be up on a bolster. So you can take this bolster and tuck it under the left side of your ribs. So you can use a pillow as well. It's helpful. You can be up a little bit higher, right? Feel, okay, that feels good, right? And you want to be pushing down a little bit into this arm. So here's me collapsing, right? So I don't want to collapse. I want to root down so I can feel like like someone's got a little string. Okay, so your right foot is behind you on the floor. Right foot behind the left leg on the floor. So Seamus is a really good, look at what Seamus is doing. Yeah. And so here, your left leg, Donna, sneak it. You've got it behind. Yeah. Sneak it out and put it in front. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to come to you in a moment. Yeah. But if you look at what Seamus is doing, yeah, and so you see your bottom leg, which is your left, yeah. You've got your left foot behind your right foot. Sneak it out and put it in front. There you go. Yeah, okay, now we're together. Yeah, okay, yeah. Tricky. Sometimes there's a lot of right and left in this one. So your top leg, which is your right, you're going to roll it forward a little bit. And now you're going to sink your hip back. And when you do that, the left leg is going to come off the floor, right? Yes. Okay. Now you can have your right hand in front of you. I've just got it on the bolster. You're going to gather your core, be pressing into this right foot a little bit. So you see how I'm pressing into it? I can move the body a little bit. It's like a standing leg. Yeah, you got it. Relax. And then you're going to lift this bottom leg up and down. So it's an inner adductor. Yeah, there it is. It's been a while. This one's called seesaw, right? Yes, you got it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Good. Little energy out the crown of the head. Pause when you're ready. This one's a lot of work. We won't do too many of these. Okay, let's pause. Okay, we're gonna practice one again tomorrow. So you're left tomorrow, next Tuesday. Tomorrow, I'm gonna get you back here. Next Tuesday. Okay, left leg is now on the floor. So I'm pressing a little bit. You have done this one before. So if you want to come down a little bit or move the bolster and just relax a little bit, you can. So a lot of you know this one as you externally rotate that right leg, your knee is on a little bit of a 45. You shake it out. Some of you can tap this leg. Good. Then you're going to bend the right knee and you're going to soften it. Now gather up through your lower belly. So do a little S sound. And then this leg goes up and down like you're going to draw a rainbow with the feet. So this is called three heel pose. This is a strengthener of the outer abductors, also releaser of the fascia. Got some interesting vocabulary just arising today for me. Okay. So just feeling this flow and feel your whole leg moving. Beautiful. Aha. Okay, do one or two more. Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to pause. And now some of you might just roll over if you don't want to sit up. I'm going to sit up and turn myself so I'm still facing you, and we're going to do the lower leg first. So that means that we're on our right hip. Support the right hip if it's too much to lean on it. You can have the bolster tucked really close underneath you. You can be on the elbow, rooting down, opening the chest. Left foot is behind the right leg. There we go. Yeah. Left foot behind the right leg. There you go. Perfect. Yeah. And Donna, you have to switch. There you go. Yeah. So see Donna in front of, yeah, there you go. Yes, there. You've got you perfect. It's interesting because when I say Donna, both of you look at me, which is awesome. And you're not too sure sometimes who I'm speaking to, but that's okay. We're working together as a group. Now, we're gonna fold this left leg in, and now you're gonna kind of pull that left leg in and roll back a little bit. See how that bottom leg pops up, right? And then you're connected. You can feel like you're pulling up through the lower belly. And then this lower leg is going to lift up and down. There you go. Yes. Aha. Exactly. Yeah. Aha. A little bit different, right? This one. This is probably up there in one of the hardest ones of the series right here. It's a little bit challenging, but you guys are all doing awesome. I'll bring in next week the arm because I don't want to confuse anyone because we're just focusing on the leg. But there's an arm. It's kind of like tapping your head and rubbing your belly. Yeah, exactly. You remember it, Carol. Yeah. Okay, pause. Now you're going to roll forward, root that bottom leg, which is your right, and then choose. Oh, maybe my shoulders had enough. Okay, you can stay up or you can lie back down. Okay, you're going to roll back a little bit. Okay, open up that leg, shake it out, tap it. Allow the knee to bend a little bit. Hey, feel your S breath or your SH breath, whichever one you need. Little bit of reaching out the crown of the head, soften the throat. Okay, you're going to go into 3 heel pose. So we're doing the first one, seesaw, was adductor, which is inner thigh strengthener. It also helps to align and feel us more connected in our pelvis, pelvic stability. Yep, do your sounds if you need to. Okay, and this one is strengthening the outer hip, but also nourishing all through the hip and the thigh and the leg. A couple more. Remember, you can pause at any time. Nice work, you guys. Hey, when you're ready, you're going to just roll onto your back. You might have the bolster still there. Just take a moment. Just notice how you feel. Check in with body. See if any movement comes in. There's just a need for a pause. Just notice how you feel up to this point. We're ending our practice as we always do with the arm series. So you have a choice. If you're done lying down, you might sit up for the arm series. You might go, okay, I want to sit up. And then you might go, I really like that heart bed position, okay, where you're going to grab your 4-inch block, place it on the mat, take your bolster, and create an angle here. So you can be lying flat in constructive rest for this one. Hey, as you lie back, I know some of you like to have the chip foam block there. Okay, so you can scoot your pelvis all the way back, chin towards your chest, slowly lowering down. Okay, and then check in if this is too much of an angle for your pelvis. You can lift your hips up and put the block underneath you. I've just got to adjust my block height for a moment, so you just stay where you are. Okay, arms out to the side if it's okay. Move your blocks, your props out of the way. They might be a little bit closer than normal. Check in if the legs want to have a little block or an inflated slimmo ball in between them to keep connected to the lower body as we go into upper body. Palms are up, arms are moved away from the body. Open heart, soft breath. Take a moment just to be here. Feel how your back body is sinking into the floor or the bolster if you're using it. Notice if there's anything that wants to release. When we open our heart, we have prana, we have energy, we have gratitude and love, but we also have grief. And sometimes the heart can kind of gather in and feel a little bit more bound in the front or maybe in the back door of the heart in between the shoulder blades. Just letting go if there's any heaviness. You might even crawl a little bit more inside, do a little bit interoceptive awareness and feel your heart muscle. You might offer a little bit of love and compassion to your heart muscle. Okay, we're going to go through the arm flow in a sequence. Maybe a little pause at times. We're going to start with Cobra Hood. So your arms are going to come up. The palms are going to touch. Then you're going to open the palm of the hand. So just the pads of your thumb, index, middle, ring, pinky are touching. Then the elbows bend. So you take your forearms so they become parallel with the body. Okay, feel your feet. If you have the ball there, exhale, gently squeeze it. Feel an S breath or an SH breath just to gather. Okay, remembering to keep your ribs connected and drawing down in this one. Your back is going to want to pull away from the floor of the bolster as you extend the arms overhead. So some of you might bring in an exhalation here. Okay, so when the arms extend overhead, the palms of the hands come to touch, the inner elbows gather. Some of you might exhale here. And as you inhale, the palms of the hands widen, the elbows widen, hands come back over the heart. Okay, so as you extend overhead, fingers pointing towards the wall behind you, palms touch, inner elbows gather, ribs gather and lower down. And then you inhale, the palms of the hands open, the elbows widen as the hands shift over heart. So we're feeling our attention touch the side ribs here in Cobra Hood. And you might even start to feel that sliding and gliding through the side of the rib cage. It's also a release for the diaphragm. So we're looking for that slide and glide, which helps and comes in the subcutaneous fascia, which is just below the skin. You can do 2 or 3 more. Keep the collarbones broad. When you're ready to pause at heart center, then just extend the arms up. So the fingers are pointing to the ceiling. The palm of the hands are gently open. The thumb and all the pads of the fingers are softly leaning into each other. And the elbows are bent. They're heavy. And we're going to do chopping wood. So arms chop down towards the legs. And they come up to point towards the ceiling and then a little bit overhead. Take an exhale here to gather the rib cage and lower the ribs down, maybe that SH breath. And just let your breath flow at your rhythm. If it feels better to have a different breath, just gonna let that pass. If it feels better to have a different breath when your arms go overhead, just make sure that you're keeping your rib cage gathering on the exhalation. And we're not allowing the rib cage to lift away from the floor or the bolster. This chopping wood is nourishing the fascia and unwinding it through the thoracic body. So we have 12 vertebrae, 12 rib cage. You might even feel as the arms come up, your shoulder blades slide up towards your ears. And then as you chop down towards your legs, your shoulder blades slide down your back across that bed of fascia. So allow your shoulder blades to move. Allow your shoulders to rise up to the ears here. Just allowing movement underneath the shoulder blade. So the shoulder blade is supposed to slide across the rib cage. Good. This time, let's just let our arms release and just bring the back of the hands back down to the floor. Take a moment to pause here. I'm going to be here for a minute. A little check-in. Offer some silence for this one. You just let your breath do whatever it needs to, out the mouth, out the nose, sighs, sound. We're going to do our last 2 movements, which are the owl wings, 1 and 2. We're going to bring the arms up. I'm going to feel your palm of your hands face towards your legs, the pad of the index and the pad of the thumb touching. Yeah, good. Elbows bend a little bit. Okay, wiggle the other fingers, middle ring and pinky, and lean them into each other. Okay, now remember, your whole arm should be fluid here, so try not to lock in your wrist. So sometimes I get you to do a little fluid motion through your whole arm, just to feel that fluidity. And then you're going to open out to the side. So if you're up on a bolster, you're in no way touching the floor. Even if you're on the floor, you make sure that you're gathering your ribs and you're not pulling the back ribs away from the floor. You can find your breath that works for you. Some of you are going to keep your head in center. You might even close your eyes. Some of you might turn your head. So as the arms open, you might turn your head to the right. And then as the hands come back towards center, the head finds center. And then as you open your arms again, you might turn to the left. And then come back to center with the head and the arms. Your eyes can close, they can stay open if you're turning the head, but keep the eyes soft. Okay? The index and the thumb connect with a little bit of leaning. And myofascially through the muscles in the fascia, we're weaving that connection up from the index and the thumb through the forearms, the biceps, the anterior part of the shoulder. This is the deltoid, into your pec, major and minor muscle, and all the fascia through the chest. We're going to do a couple more, and then we're going to move to our back body. So just even it out through the head, release the fingers, wiggle them. Now you're going to turn your whole arm so the palm and the inside of your arm face one another, and then you're going to keep turning it so that now you face the underside of the arm and the palm of the hand to the back wall. So when you look up, you can see the palm of your hand. Okay? Feel the thumb either touching the middle finger. This is going to bring myofascial connection all the way up through the center of the arm, the top of the shoulder, into the neck and the jaw. It also is going to lift the energy. So if you're feeling already a little bit of lightness or lightheadedness, then maybe you move away from the thumb touching the middle finger into the thumb touching the ring finger. And this is going to go into your back body, shoulder blade. You can touch thumb to ring finger and pinky if you want. Index and middle in a V. Heavy elbows. You're going to open the arms again, out to the side. Pinky side of the hands coming towards one another. Choose to bring in the head if you want. Beautiful. Feel your radiant breath. Remember that exhale is that time to reconnect and gather within yourself. Check in with your feet and your legs. Maybe that ball in between the legs. See if you're still connected to the lower body, because all of our focus has been on the middle and the upper body. Widen neck, soft throat, little energy out the crown of the head. Feel your whole wing from your shoulder blade through your shoulder, your upper arm, your elbow, your forearm, your wrist, your hand, out your fingers. Nice. We're going to pause. We're just going to do one last one because it's being called in. Wiggle your fingers, relax them. Arms come up. So when you look up, you're going to have your palms of your hands facing your legs. And then just turn the palms just a little bit to face one another. And you're going to start to draw a circle in the air. So your right hand draws the right side of the circle, the left hand draws the left side of the circle. And your pinky side of your hands are going to start to come towards one another. They don't need to touch. And then you're going to go back. While the outside of the circle, the thumbs come towards one another. You're just feeling this internal, external rotation into full moon. So we're just working on the articular capsule of the shoulder, making sure that we keep the freedom of that connective tissue around the shoulder socket. Just notice, does your circle want to be big or small or medium size? Your eyes can close. And then when you're ready, just relax the arms down. And then you can choose, do I want to stay in heart bed? If you do, you might even walk the soles of the feet together, take out that block bolster, and you might allow the legs to open up into butterfly or cobbler pose with the soles of the feet touching. Some of you might feel, oh, I just want to extend the legs. Some of you might go, nope, don't want to be in heart bed anymore. So you're going to roll off, unwind, and take your bolsters, your props out. Maybe you pop your legs up the wall for a moment. Maybe you lie on your side. You might even want to sit. I'm just going to be in seated, but you find a place that allows you to integrate the practice. Take an exhalation out your mouth once you arrive in your place. And do that a couple more times, maybe letting out a sigh. Just feel yourself release into your support, the ground. Notice if there's any last part of holding through the body that needs to let go of. And just slowly pass it away through the mouth, Whenever we create that intention of like, oh, I don't think I would need that, or I don't want to carry that anymore, you can gather whatever that is. It's a sensation, it's a thought, it's an emotion, and just allow it with the set of intention just to blow it away. And do that a couple times, and then think of what would I like to bring in. Maybe there's a word or something that you would like to bring in to fill that now spacious part of you. I'm thinking a lot about the heart lately, which is the center of our being, connects us energetically up through the upper body and down through the lower body. Also is the doorway to us connecting with our soul, our spirit, our essence. And that also connects us outward, and we feel this wrapping when we practice together of all of our little inner connections of energy, all reaching out to intertwine, to weave together. And so we feel support, but we also feel nourished of this reminder that we're not alone. And there's a piece that I want to share with you, and I'll send it with the recording link. It's by John O'Donohue, and it's called Let Your Heart Speak. Because the heart dwells in unattended dark, we often forget its sublime sensitivity to everything that is happening to us. Without ever noticing, the heart absorbs the joy of things and also their pain and care. Within us, therefore, a burdening can occur. For this reason, it is wise now and again to tune into your heart and listen for what it carries. To tune into your heart and listen to what it carries. Sometimes the simplest things affect unexpected transformations. Sometimes the simplest things affect unexpected transformation. The old people here used to say that a burden shared is a burden halved. Similarly, when you allow your heart to speak, the burdens it carries diminish. A new lightness enters your body and relief floods the heart. When you allow your heart to speak, the burdens it carries diminish. A new light enters your body and relief floods the heart. Take a couple minutes of silence here. Thanking yourself for the space that you created. Noticing that you can create moments throughout your day where you pause and you check in with yourself and listen what's present with you. Offering these times when you check in and allow you to come back and feel centered and let go of what's no longer needed. And ask yourself, what do you need? What's happening right now? So as you start to feel your body coming back into your proprioception, wiggle the fingers, the arms, the toes, the legs, bring in a stretch, a yawn, whatever you need to start to reconnect back into the physical body. So reaffirm your proprioception. When you're ready, you can release some props, roll over to one side, and you can come and sit up. Just giving yourself space if you're close to someone in the studio, just to stagger a little bit on your mat so we all have space to reach our arms to end the class. You can sit cross-legged, you can be in kneeling, have your legs straight. Just take a moment to feel the palms face forward when you arrive and seated. And just all exhale out our mouth. As you root down through your pelvis and your sit bone, let your arms start to float up. Just remember, when you get to the height of the shoulders, you can choose to turn the palms down and bring the arms forward. So you can draw a top of a triangle as the palms touch. You can receive that energy down through the head, heart, torso, body. And then the arms come out to the side. You might even cultivate any tension that you brought in, a sankalpa. Exhale, receive it within your body, mind, and spirit. One last time. Your rhythm, reaching out. This time when the palms come towards the heart, let the thumbs touch the heart center. Pause here for a moment. The head may bow, eyes may close. Whatever feels right. Just listening and connecting into your heart. Remembering your senses, when you tune into them, will always bring you back into the present moment. And as your eyes start to open, if your head was bowed, lifting it up. Thank you for sharing your energy, your time, enjoy your space today. So good to see all of you.